So this is the first day of the unit for golf, and a lot of my students had no prior experience up until this point. And this was actually the first time that they co-created success criteria as well. The learning objective of my lesson was for my students to co-create success criteria of the proper way to swing a golf club.
You are going to watch this gentleman. He is a PGA golfer. You're going to watch this gentleman swing 3 times in slow motion. And then you are going to look at each component individually, and then you are going to make an observation as to why that person is a successful golfer according to their technique. Okay, and you're going to watch it 3 times. So every time, once you move from one component, the first one's the ball. Once you make a note about the ball, then you move on to the next component. Again, this is going to be about a 2 to 3 minute activity. You're working independently, and then afterwards you're getting an opportunity to work as a group. Questions on the directions or the expectation?
As a teacher, it was one of my goals for my students to meet the success criteria of the golf swing by the end of the unit, which is why I showed them the video at the beginning of the unit.
What you're going to do now is you are going to get into a group of 5. I need someone in the group to take charge and kind of guide the group, kind of act as the teacher in this activity. For example, if I'm a student right now, talking about feet. Hey, I saw this about the golfer's feet. What do you think? Do you have anything to add? Give me more input, those types of things. So make sure you're being respectful to everyone's input, and let's try to address each component. And then I'm going to ask for one person to represent the group and actually speak. And we're going to put the success criteria over here on the paper. So at this time, go ahead and get into a group of 5 quickly.
So we're like on either side of the ball.
I also said that they're kind of like shoulder length apart.
That's what I said too. I said like they kind of roll onto their back foot.
Yeah.
Or like their back foot comes off the ground.
Oh yeah, well when you like follow through, I feel like your toe, like, or this like, you release pressure.
I think the strength of the lesson was that my students were engaged. I think anytime you have your class co-create success criteria, they're going to be more engaged because they're coming up with the criteria, whereas as opposed to me standing up in front of the class just lecturing. I also think when you empower your students, you're essentially giving them the keys to the content, and they're gonna learn the content better.
We had eyes are always on the ball, like you should always pay attention to the ball, and then we had the ball like being on the tee or like directly beneath you.
Let's talk about where the ball is in relation to the person that was swinging the golf club. Where was it in their stance? How far was it from the person? So anybody can share right now. So it was in the middle of the stance. Very good, Brandon. So put the balls in the middle of the stance.
Both thumbs should be pointing down, and then when you're coming up on the backswing, they should be facing up.
Nice job, Brandon.
Yeah.
So if you look up here, the golfer, pre-stance, pre-swing, their thumbs are pointing down towards the ground. When they go into their backswing, their thumbs are pointing up towards the sky. And then when they go to contact the golf ball, their thumbs are pointing down again. So it's down, up, down. Very good. Nice job. On Wednesday, is you are going to practice one of the elements of the golf swing. By the end of the unit, every single one of you will know the 6 components of an effective golf swing. Additionally, you will all be able to perform that golf swing physically by hitting a golf ball in the gym as well as on a golf course. All right? Now here's what we're going to do today. Obviously the first component of a golf swing is you need to know the proper grip. You're going to work on the interlocking grip today, and you're also going to have an opportunity to swing the golf club using an interlocking grip.
So the next time I taught golf, my students had an opportunity to practice the golf swing using the success criteria that they created. And my students were able to bring in their cell phone with them, and they were actually able to peer assess each other and give each other prescriptive feedback on their golf swing. And then at the end of the period, my students set goals for themselves on areas of improvement for the next time we did golf. Well, throughout the golf unit, as I walked around, I noticed that because my students created the success criteria, number one, it empowered them to learn the material, the content, but then they actually became teachers within the class. And when I have a class of 36 students, it kind of takes the pressure off me a little bit, because now I'm empowering my students to teach each other, peer assess. So not only are students watching for the proper technique, they're learning the proper technique, and then they're able to give feedback to each other. I would show them a weak example along with a strong example. I only showed them a strong example, and if I were to show a weak example of a golf swing, I might show Happy Gilmore or Charles Barkley. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him swing. He's got a god-awful swing. And then maybe Brad Anderson.